The Newsday continues here on One News Now Business. I am Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. Economists say the Bangko Sentral has room to extend its monetary policy, tightening pause, despite the Fed's latest rate hike. According to economists, the central bank may still opt to pause at its next meeting, so as long as inflation stays on a downward trend. Economists also noted that the narrowing of interest rate differentials between the US and the Philippines does not always put intense pressure on the local currency. The Fed raised federal funds rate target range by 25 basis points to 5.25 to 5.5%. The country's monetary board, on the other hand, maintained rates at 6.25% in June. The country's foreign portfolio investment saw a net inflow in June, according to data from the Bangko Sentral. The $1.23 million net inflow ends 4 consecutive months of outflow. These investments are known as hot money, since it enters and exits the economy easily. The top 5 investor economies were the UK, US, Luxembourg, Singapore, and Switzerland. These countries account for over 84% of total foreign portfolio investments inflow. One analyst attributes the increase to the steady interest rate differential between the Philippines and US attracting more investors. The easing inflation is also seen as a factor. The BSP sees hot money yielding a net inflow of about $2.5 billion this year. Malaysian businessmen pledged $285 million in investments for the Philippines during President Bongbong Marcos' trip to Kuala Lumpur. That's equivalent to about 15.55 billion pesos. A Malaysian dairy firm said it is also looking to invest $20 million or roughly a billion pesos to set up cattle breeding for milk production in the Philippines. The president touted the country's recovery from the pandemic in hopes of attracting more foreign direct investments. The president likewise expressed optimism that joining the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, would benefit the Philippines greatly.
With our participation in multilateral cooperation, such as RCEP, we are strengthening our participation in regional supply chains with an objective of attracting more foreign direct investment.
The Maharlika Investment Fund was also promoted by the president in Malaysia. However, Marcos did not mention whether Malaysia expressed interest in the fund. Recall that Malaysia's own sovereign wealth fund had been riddled with issues of corruption, money laundering, and embezzlement.
It is left to those financial managers that we will be putting into place. So, with that assurance, I think the assumption is that everyone has learned the lessons from what happened.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Search and rescue operations are still ongoing following a boat tragedy off Binangonan, Rizal on Thursday that killed at least 26 people. Authorities report that the boat was overloaded by both passengers and cargo. The captain also refused to comment on allegations that there were no life vests for his passengers. He, however, apologized to the victims and the families of the deceased.
Uwi na po, na isla po. Bigla po, may sigwada po na hangin. Bigla po, yung oras po kung tawagin. Hindi ko na po mapigilan, ma'am, yung pag-ano po ng bangka po tagilid. Sana po, mapatawad po nila ako sa trahedyo po na nangyari. Hindi ko naman po gusto yun po, sana po, mapatawad nila ako.
Binangonan Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office reported timely search operations due to the presence of Coast Guard personnel nearby. Meanwhile, Binangonan Rizal's Barangay Kalinawan Captain Virgilio Cerda told us here on One News that the boat was indeed overloaded as passengers insisted on boarding the vessel after being stranded due to Typhoon Egay.
Ay, mga gusto mo, nag-iulanan sa bangka, makakatawagan ng kapitan ng bangka, kasi pagpilit lumulan.
Typhoon Egay left a trail of destruction in northern Luzon this week before exiting to Taiwan. Egay damaged some 62,000 metric tons of agricultural crops in the Cordillera Administrative Region and Region 6. The total cost of damage to agriculture is now at 58 million pesos. The death toll from Egay has meanwhile climbed to 13. The NDRRMC says 6 of the total deaths are still under validation, while 7 have been confirmed. Some 12 people are meanwhile reportedly injured, while at least 20 are reportedly still missing. The number of affected families is at 140,000. That's equivalent to 500,000 individuals across 12 regions. One former agriculture official allays supply fears following India's ban on rice exports. Fermin Adriano told the chiefs that the Philippines has enough stock of rice, with imports mainly coming from Vietnam and Thailand. India has imposed a ban on its exports of non-basmati white rice in an effort to bring down local prices. The move has triggered panic buying in some countries, including the US, while experts fear that prices of the staple could shoot up.
Most of the Indian exports of rice really go to the poor African countries. Kasi the main source of our rice import is Vietnam, which is around 90%, and then Thailand. Should we be worried about it? Not to the point of panicking, but the thing is that there will certainly be pressure, upward pressure on the rice prices because it's a chain reaction.
Meanwhile, RCBC Chief Economist Mike Ricafort tells the big story that India's rice export ban could still indirectly affect the Philippines' supply, considering that India is our top 5 source of imported rice. But he notes that supply issues could also be triggered by other factors such as the El Nino and agricultural damage from typhoons like Egay. And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.